this morning as if he's saying something to me.
One go. Hi, welcome to Celebrate Life.me on reggae.com. Today we are half an hour after our scheduled time because of technical difficulties, and we apologize. But today is a very special day because we are still doing our time management series, and we are now concentrating today on community. Before we get there, let's go through a little overview of the whole thing. One, time has got to be managed. You cannot let time manage you. It's important that you remember that everybody born alive, every plant, every animal, everything has the same amount of time. And it's so important that we remember that because nobody has an advantage over anybody else because we all have the same amount of time. That means those who are successful in life are the ones who are able to manage their time to make sure that every moment that they spend is going to benefit you. One of the ways I learned this way back when I had my first job, I remember this gentleman came to our business college and he wanted somebody with A levels at the time. And there were two people in the school with A levels, right? And it was a business school, a business college actually. And I remember the other girl said, well, I'm going to work in my father's business. And I said to him, well, I'm going to work in a bank or insurance company because those were the two big prestigious jobs at the time. And he says, well, I need one of you two ladies. This was an American college, right? And he came back and back and back. And both of us just stuck to our guns. And one day he came. I tell you, this man was so smart. He came in and he says, well, miss, I would like you to come and work with me. I said, I am not. I said, are you a bank or an insurance company? He says, no, I'm carrying sales manager for these two big pharmaceutical companies. And I said, well, no, thank you. And he said to me, well, guess what? If you will come and work with me after school from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock, I'll come and pick you up. You work from 2 till 5. While you're finishing your course for the next 3 months, I'll pay you full salary. You know what happened? I went. So every 2 o'clock, he came to pick me up. And at 5 o'clock, my dad came and picked me up from work and took me home. My goodness, I enjoyed myself. Why? Because of all the money I was getting. For 3 hours work, I was getting 8 hours pay. I loved it. So that is how I was managing my time to maximize my income. And that is how you have to look at time. What are you gaining out of the use of your time? And so if you're sleeping more than 8 hours, then you are gaining fatigue. Because if you sleep more than 8 hours, you are getting fatigue unless you recuperate. So that went well. And one of the things happened after the 3 months finished, I was enjoying myself. And my dear, I decided, well, I'm getting too much work to do. Because guess what? This man had 5 different companies, and every week he bring in stuff from another company. Boom, boom. And at the end of 3 months, I was doing work for 5 different companies. My dear, I went home and I said to my mother, I said, Mommy, I am going to tell this man I'm not coming back because he is working me like a slave and quarrel. My mother said, get 5 pieces of paper, Shirley. Write the name of each one on the top and write every single solitary thing you do for each one. Well, we had 5 companies. And I did that. And I was amazed at the amount of things I had done. Well, when I showed them to my mother in triumph, that is, I now have a reason that I must leave this job and go and get another job. She said, wow, I was just seeing what I had done. You know what she was seeing? What I had learned. She said, Cheryl, do you know that in 3 months you have learned what would take you 15 months with 5 companies? Because you would have had to go to all of those different organizations and change your job every 3 months to have acquired all of this knowledge. This man has been paying you and training you. So what you need to do when you get in tomorrow is carry your 5 pieces of paper. Tell him, thank him so much for training you, and then ask him for a raise. I did. I got a raise. He thought it was so funny. This little girl coming and twisting his arm. And eventually I was paid back full pay by another company. So this is how you can use your time to maximize your income. And when yesterday we spoke about the fact that if you don't have a job, you can use your time to be trained as a volunteer in anything. If it just means going over next door and volunteering to cut your neighbor's yard free of cost, at least you will becoming a better lawn cutter. Think about that. And then somebody might just say, wow, that person has done such a good job. I am going to employ them and actually pay them. That is what every single person who is not employed needs to do. Volunteer. Because time must never be used to at a loss. It's as simple as that. Because you are either gaining experience, exposure, earnings, learning, training, just increasing a facility for something. Every time you use your time, those are the criteria that you have to use in determining how you use your time. So, having done that background, we need to understand exactly how we need to proceed. We looked at the hierarchy of relationships in just proposed with time, meaning how should we use our time? Our time must be used at fulfilling these relationships, which every single solitary soul in life have. All of us have all of these relationships, whether it is a overt or covert relationship, whether it is an active or passive relationship, we all have these relationships. And so we need to use them to our best advantage. Right now, we are going to just go through the 7 relationships that every human being has, and then after that, we will go down to number 5. Where's number 5 already? Because today is Friday, or we've been doing from Monday. So we're going to do number 5, which is community. How we spend our time in our community. So let's back up. So we look at the whole hierarchy. The first one is our relationship with our Creator. Because if we don't have that relationship in place, then everything else is going to be dysfunctional. Yes, ma'am. Secondly, family. And then within the family structure, there is again another hierarchy. That was done on Tuesday. So if you want to do that, you go back and you listen to the one on Tuesday. How we should spend time with our family. How much time? What relationships? Number 3 was our purpose. Very important. Because our purpose determines the framework within which we have all our relationships. And that purpose comes from out of the operations manual. And it says, I have a purpose and a plan for you. A plan not to harm you or to hurt you, but to give you a hope and a future. A plan to make you prosperous and successful. And all the instructions how to carry out that plan are in the operations manual. So you've got to read it, you've got to study it, you've got to know what is in there. Anyway, that was in number 1. we are now. Number 3 was purpose. That is how you know what your purpose should be. Your dreams and your visions and your passion. Right? You can know what my own is my passion. My passion is dance. And my passion is just communicating with people about how they can come into their passion. So that's purpose. Number 4 was spiritual family. And we did that yesterday. And boy, that was a revelation because we understand that spiritual is not religious. Spiritual is what is a part of your spirit, the spirit that was breathed into you by your creator. And so we have to get together and have synergy with those who have the same spirit, the same life, the same philosophy of life, that they gravitate to naturally. Now that has been enforced on them. And so that's number 4, the time you spend with your spiritual family. Number 5 is today, that's the time you spend with your community. And I'm here to tell you, is very, very important because that time is probably the time you spend most because you sleep in your community and you also interact. You're there before you leave for work or before you leave for school or whatever activity. So that is very, very important. And I wanted to share with you some of the activities that my husband and I were involved in because we were involved in community impact all our lives. And wherever we lived, we made sure that we impacted the whole community. And we would choose a minimum of 200 persons. However wide the two, and we had to go to get the 200 persons, we made a commitment to impact at least 200 persons out of the community. And so after we lived at the first community for a while, we moved. And we moved every year or two to the next 6 communities. I remember in 4 years, we moved to four different communities because we felt that we had impacted that enough and we couldn't help there anymore. And so we went on to another community. You can imagine lifting up lock, stock, and barrel and moving into another community. Well, that's what we did. And it was really enriching for us. So we go through a little of those different activities when we come back from this break. So see you in a while on our time management series on reggae2reggae.com by Celebrate Life.
Since the first public demonstration of radio by Nikola Tesla in 1893, no one ever thought of putting the 2 hours of music together until we created reggae2reggae.com.
My name is Ruel.
Hey, and I'm Joya.
And this is the man Jaden.
And we are British Dependency out of Anguilla. And you're listening to Reggae to Reggae TV and radio.
Yes!
Sitting on the limb of a tree, giving me a sound of sweet melody. I guess he's trying to tell me something.
Okay, now we are back on the Celebrate Live on Reggae to Reggae, and we are doing our time management series. And as you can see, I used my time very well during the break to rearrange my scarf. So now I have a new look, right? So you see, you can use your time to your advantage, whatever time you have available to you. All right, so this is a different way to wear it, and I like this too. Good, wonderful. Now, we are talking about community time. You live in a community, and whether you see anybody or not, you are impacting that community negatively or positively. So you might as well impact it positively. And so I made notes about how we had worked with our communities and I'm going to share them with you. Now, this is by no means exhaustive, but these were some of the many things we did with our communities because we developed all of these strategies based on the community needs and based on how we saw the community interact. All right, so this is not in any order, but I'm just going to go through them. It's probably in our chronological order. The first community we lived in was in the Havendale area, and we used to have block parties. We were there for a long time. 12 years? Yes, about 12 years, 10 to 12 years. And our home had become a sort of a center. People would drop in all the time. They would come to buy plants. They would come to get prayer. They would come to ask questions. They would come to get help to fix this, that breakdown, that breakdown. This not working, that not working. That was what our home had become. And so people felt free to come in. I remember the first block party I had, we had one of those huge trampolines, you know, the big 18-foot ones. And we invited 200 people. We always just go drop us something into the mailbox. We would sort of get an idea of how many people were in the yard and or in the hill. And so we did that. And people would come. It was on a Sunday afternoon. And we cooked up a whole storm. And they came and they used the rebounder, they used, you know, whatever therapy instruments we had out. They used the big trampoline. We have 5 or 6 people on a trampoline at one time. And then we just sat and talked, and we invited everybody to tell us what was their passion, what was their area of interest, so that we could interact. We exchanged phone numbers, and we sort of just, we wanted to know who was sick in the community, who was well, who needed somebody to drop by and just talk to them, needed somebody to come and read to them, wanted somebody to come and comb their hair, you know, probably walk to the shop with them or go to the shop for them, come and sweep up the yard in the mornings. A lot of interactions were made during that first block party, which sort of set the pace for the other communities that we went to live in. And so we learned that you can live in a community and get to know people. You can make your complaints in this forum, in this very supportive forum, you know, which will tell you exactly, this supportive forum which will tell you exactly why you lived here, what were the challenges that we had with our neighbors. I know one of my main things was the burning people. The people who burn garbage, because I would constantly have all my sinuses, and the sinuses of my clients clogged up by all this toxic material. Not to mention when you hang your white clothes on the line, then you had a situation where these people were not aware that they are dirtying up with white clothes. And not only that, I had to close all the windows because all the curtains got full of soot, etc. We resolve those things with as little animosity as possible. And that's how you have. That's the advantage of people getting together. A lot of times we found that the reason why they did certain things was that they had challenges. They don't have any facility. They don't have no garbage bag to put up the things. They don't have any, and so that's why they burn it. They don't have any, they can't pay the gardener, so they chop it down themselves, and so all sorts of things. And what we found was that we could assist each other out of that situation. So the block party is something that we have retained wherever we have gone. At least 3 times a year, we will have our neighbors over for a meal, a barbecue, juice, sandwiches, sometimes bring a dish. You know, everybody, hey, let's get together this Sunday. Instead of everybody eating at their home, everybody bring a dish, bring what they would eat at home. And if you do that, then everybody will get something to eat. And then sometimes I plan it. I said, okay, you bring fruits, you bring eggs, you bring eggs, so that I will plan the meal and ask them which of these things will they bring. And if they didn't want to bring anything, enough them on it. And then we do seminars on healthy living and da 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 da. But that was quite interesting. The other thing that we did was I used to do free therapy for all my neighbors. I still do. And we did tea parties. Next place that we went to, instead of doing a block party, we did a tea party. We invited everybody over to tea about maybe 2 months after we had moved in. We had a big tea party. And we had an opportunity of introducing ourselves. And for the first time, so many of our neighbors who had been living there for such a long time were meeting others, because the second location was in Cooper's Hill. And our closest neighbor was about 400 yards in that direction. And in the other direction, about another 400 yards. So we never saw any of our neighbors at home. We would have to drive around, down the road, round the corner to find one, or down the hill and turn to find one. And the one down the hill was a overseas resident who came home periodically, and the one up the hill was a pilot. So, you know, his time was a little bit different then. Let's just put it that way. But through this tea party, so many people who had been eating there for years met for the first time. And so you will appreciate that in order to invite 200 people, we had to go miles concentrically out from where we were living. And that was very interesting because we developed a lot of relationships which we still maintain to this day. So tea parties are another way of doing this. Sunday brunch was another one that we did. And then we asked people whenever they came to share their passions. You know, a lot of times you are living in an environment and you have a passion. And there's somebody right in that environment who shares the same passion or who can give balance to that passion. Because there's something that you need that they can supply. And very often within communities, we reinvent the wheel, we develop. And so we found that we were able to share recipes, we were able to share gardeners, we were able to share mechanics, we were able to share ideas, and a lot of times we had garage sales and a lot of things that came into play through that sharing of passion. For instance, we found that some people had a passion, but they needed this to complete it. And that person had a passion, and they needed what you are lacking. They needed what you have to complete it, but what you are lacking, they have. And so a lot of combinations and linkages were made through this community time when we just came together. That was our second one was in Cooper's Hill, where we did the tea party, and then we went to Upper Kirkland Heights. Upper Kirkland Heights, yes. No, we went to Plantation Heights after that. And that was very, very interesting because we went to an area which was populated quite, I mean, most of the people there were there for a long time. And this is where we had one of our vehicles stolen and parked in another community that we had lived in before. And of course, somebody from that community saw the vehicle and came and told us, hey, what's the car getting parked up the hill there? And we were able to just go and get it. So that sort of thing helped us in finding the back of our car. Because there it is, they thought they had taken the car and parked it way up in another community, far from where we were. But we had lived there before, and somebody recognized the pickup. Wonderful. All right. So our somebody could find the other one that was stolen, but we'll talk about that another time. But here it is. This always works to your advantage, right? Now, in the next segment, I'm going to talk about how to deal with some of the difficulties of having this. But the third community was where we, oh yes, we went to speak at a Citizens Association meeting and then invited the Citizens Association to have their next meeting in our home so that we could acquaint them with what we did, all the different therapies that we were able to offer, and you would do this free for the persons within the community. So we found that that was a pretty aged community, and there were a lot of persons with strokes and other negative conditions that are associated with age. And so we were able to invite them over and say, you can come over every day and use this therapy machine or do that, or you can come over every day and get this, show you how to make this particular remedy so that you can do it at home. And we had a lot of persons coming into our classes, practice, and also to our regular classes. And so the whole community was enriched. And to this day, which is about 10 years later, we still have persons coming to our classes and benefiting from the connection that was made in that situation. Let's go to number 3 community. And that went very well. Our 4th community that we moved to, Plantation Heights, then Upper Kirkland Heights, then West Kirkland Heights. And I remember in West Kirkland Heights, we had a community that was very difficult to communicate with because of their time frame. They all went out to work, or there were some retired persons, and came in late, out early, in late. And on Saturdays, they just had activities all over the place. Well, in that one, we decided to do a house to house. And so we went with a little booklet called Earl's 7 Steps to Healing and Health. It's my husband's book. And we decided, okay, well, let's just assign 200 of these books to give away to our neighbors and friends. And we just went from door to door. We knocked on the gate, and people would look out and see these 2 people out there and say, not today. They thought we were Jehovah's Witness. I said, well, we are your neighbors. We just moved in down the road, and we were just wondering if we could leave something with you. And, oh, okay, come in. And we would be going, and we said, we're just here to introduce ourselves, and we'd like to leave this booklet with you. And if there's any way we can be of help, you know, the booklet will explain what we do and, you know, all the things that we can offer. And we went right around the whole community and distributed these booklets. Those who were not at home, we stuffed it in their mailboxes or pushed it on their doors to the different apartments. And that was great. So when I come back, I'll tell you some more, because we're going on a break now, and we'll be back in 2 shakes of a duck's tail. Are you struggling with some kind of health condition? Is it arthritis, high blood pressure, Crohn's disease, constipation, AIDS, cancer? Whatever it is, we can show you how to get your natural defenses up so that your bodies will deal with your condition. Join us at our studio audience from reggae to reggae.com, when we will teach you how to celebrate every moment of your life. Call us at 336-7350 for information. Limited space.
On reggae2reggae.com, we encourage our listeners with an inclusive, intelligent, and innovative alternative media experience.
Something that I should know about this new wind. a new wind that's gonna blow.
Here we are back again. And now I have a different view of my scarf. Why am I making all these changes? Because I want to invite you to log on to my Facebook and see my outfit of the day. Every day, we will be posting an outfit on Facebook. And you can also see it on my website, celebratelife.me, where we'll be giving you ideas of how you can become more versatile with however many pieces you have in your wardrobe. So every segment, I'm going to be adjusting things on my outfit. And then afterwards, we will post how to actually make this outfit. It took me 5 minutes. And that included folding the fabric, and I'll show you all of this on my outfit of the day, and making one stitch straight down and then putting it together. You won't be able to see the rest of the outfit on the show, but just log on to celebratelife.me or go on Facebook to look at my outfit of the day, and it will be dated. So I will talk a little bit before I go back into community development on my new lion. And this time it's a real lion. It says Lion of Judah. And so I have a real lion this time, but guess what? I miss a little, what is it, cheetah? My cat. Because he was so cuddly, and this one can't cuddle because they make out of metal, tough. I like cuddly stuff. You know, I'm not a teddy bear person, but I like to cuddle. And that's one of the things I love to do with my husband. Now I don't have a husband. So that is why I have to have the cat, so that I can cuddle with it. So, but today I have my lion. The cat couldn't hold on the set. So here we have a lion of the tribe of Judah. Because guess what? This is my strength. This is where I get power from. And I will encourage you to understand all the characteristics of a lion and how much this life can contribute to your well-being. That's my favorite part. Shoulders. Every day, pump iron and get them into good condition. Everybody has a little idiosyncrasies, so just bear with me. Wonderful. All right, so we're back to community. And you know, one of the things, talking about lands and animals, one of the things that we were able to use this community interaction for is like when we were going away and our pets were there, you know, we would, you know, let them look out for us, not just for thieves, but to help us with pets, feeding the pets, and doing whatever else was going to help while we were away. We developed that camaraderie. And I'm telling you, anybody was having a party, children's party, this party, would you like to come around about that? Would you like to, I can come and make some juice, or can we do X, Y, and Z? So it was really a very, 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 very good relationship that we developed, especially in that West Kirkland Heights. From there, we decided to come off the hills and move back onto the flat. And we went to Sundown Crescent, Sundown Crescent, that is off Malines Road. And that community was a little different from the ones we were accustomed to. But we had a fabulous time. We did probably the first thing we did there was the first thing we did at that community was a garage sale, right? Because we had broken down the home and then moved into from a 4,000 square foot home into one that was probably about 2,000. We had so much excess stuff. And so I said, you know something, I am going to downsize. Coming from a 10-bedroom, 4-story home, moving into a huge 6-bedroom, and then now into a 4-bedroom, but with much smaller spaces. So we had only a third of our furniture and our stuff we were in there. So we had a big garage sale. It went for about 3 months. I sold out all my china, all my cutlery, fabric, trimmings, furnishings, furniture, um, and everything went at either 50% off or 90% off at 10% of the price. And you know, a person would come in and would say, "Oh, I want to get some chairs from my back veranda." And I said, "What about these?" Fine, fine, fine. Oh, wonderful. And then next, "Oh, I need a table for here." And it went on for 3 months. And so that was the way I became introduced to the rest of the whole community. And so people would come buy art pieces, furnishings of all sorts, mirrors, towels, because I just had so much stuff in barrels and barrels and barrels and barrels, because I'm a very acquisitive person. So here was an opportunity to use all of this excess stuff and bless my community. Well, in that community, we did not have a block party. It was not wise. So we decided to do a house to house visit. So we started doing that, and again, that did not work too well for a lot of different reasons. So we changed again, and we said, I know the best thing to do in this community. We decided to have a prayer drive. So we got together, we had a little van at the time, and a pickup and not a vehicle. So we got into the van, and I said, okay, I'm going to drive. I had 2 persons sitting on the sides, one with their hand out that window, one with their hand out that window. One person focusing on the back, and I was focusing on the road in front. And what we did was, because of the fact that the community had a high crime rate, and you know, about first week, right across the road, we are about to leave the house. I was just here, I mean, like something just kept us in the place because we were going out, and this is about 4:08 in the morning. And we were just detained for about 10 minutes, right in front of us. We came to steal this car, and the guy jumped out with the keys and ran inside, and the thieves decided to shoot him. He just did a zigzag run and wasn't shot, but the thieves were so mad and decided to shoot up everything. They got away. Police came. A week after that, there was a dead body just a few doors down the road. Just somebody came and dumped it on the road. Then the next thing, one day, I go outside, you know, fixing up my garden outside, and I see this huge bag. So I look at the bag. I said, oh my goodness, somebody must have dropped it in the car or something. Well, when I opened the bag, there were 2 passports in there that were not related. So this was a stash from somebody who had stolen several things. And there it was. So I called the person. His passport was there, and I called the police. So I said, you know something, this community needs some clean up. So we did this prayer drive. Now the persons on the side prayed for every house that we passed. And you know, we had persons who were accustomed to the ministry of prayer. And so what we did was, in stretching out our hands, we were able to identify the issues that were in each of the households and pray specifically for those problems that the households were having, the persons there, etc. And I was praying for the road, making sure nothing can come up on that road again that came up before. and just speaking the word of God of protection. The angels over this community, calling them into being to come and protect this community. And we drove straight up one side of Sundown Crescent, because we live down in the bottom, across the Lions Road, and we did it for every household. And zigzag, we had about 5 or 6 cross streets, straight back down, back around to our home. We covered everybody in that community. And the person bringing up the rear guard made sure that any bad influences that were left were vanquished forever. And I'm here to tell you, that was when we sort of broke the back of the community coming together. We had people just coming by and da-da-da-da-da-da. And, you know, anything they needed, you know, pop over to our home, whatever they needed. And that was a really, really wonderful time. We spent approximately 1 year in that community. And then moved on out of town to Southampton, Leeds. And that's just outside of Santa Cruz. Now, this is going on to a 5-acre farm. That was an entertainment complex. So we wanted to put all our different interests together. This place had a little unfinished 2-bedroom farmhouse, but it also had a theater in need of repair, what we call a village hut, a round bar, which was like a huge restaurant, had a nightclub, which was large like a church. It had a warehouse, a huge bakery. You know, one of those made out of stone, you know, the size of the bakery itself, you know, the red stone blocks, was probably about 12 by 12. We put the bread in, and then the buildings around were 24 by 60 or 70 feet. I measured them. And then we had another bar area. The place had about 5 bars, right? And then eating areas had Coconut Grove and Chicken and Cove. And then we had the area that we did all our planting, and it had everything planted. Those were the buildings. And then we had a caretaker's house. And then we came in and put in our greenhouses and our this and our that and what have you. And in 2 shades of a lost that place was just blooming. We did a palm nursery, and we did a moringa nursery, and we did a, tell you more when I come back, because that was the second to last place that we were at. And that's how we spent our time there. But you don't want details. In a while, we're going for a final break now on Celebrate Live on reggae2reggae.com. See you soon.
Since the first public demonstration of radio by Nikola Tesla in 1893, no one ever thought of putting the 2 hours of music together until we created reggae2reggae.com.
My name is Ruel.
Hey, and I'm Joya.
And this is the man Jaden.
And we are British Dependency out of Anguilla. And you're listening to Reggae to Reggae TV and radio.
Yes!
Yeah. My name is Ruel.
On reggae2reggae.com, we encourage our listeners with an inclusive, intelligent, and innovative alternative media experience.
Raining on the heathen, coming down on my people, taking the goodness of life and rendering them evil. You see, the little that they gave you was just to deceive you. Don't tell me that you were blind. Don't let the devil fool you.
on. And so I'm showing another way that you can wear this scarf and the versatility of it. And that's one of the things that we share in our communities. Welcome back to time management as it relates to your community involvement and interaction. Every person needs to interact and be involved in 7 different relationships. And whether you do that passively or actively, you are a contributor to every one of those relationships. One, your relationship with your creator. And this is the hierarchy. This is the sequence in which it must remain to be functional, or else you have dysfunctionality in every one of these relationships. First, with your creator. Secondly, with your purpose. No. Secondly, is your family. Shoot, I'm distracted by fixing this back. All right, let's go. Secondly, is your family. Third is your purpose. Fourth is your spiritual family, which we did yesterday. Fifth is your community, which we're doing today. And next week, Monday and Tuesday, we'll be doing with our nation and our world on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you must join us with Pencil and People, because that is when we're going to do the 20-year development workshop plan. And that's so exciting because I'm now in my fourth 20-year plan at 64. And this is what I wanted to get in. You can start at any time. And it really helps you to put down on paper what you would like to achieve in the next 20 years. And I'm here to tell you, if you write it down, you must exceed it. In fact, I have not just exceeded every one of my 20-year plans. I exceeded it. Why? Because if you plan it, you will succeed. If you fail to plan it, then you are planning to fail. Because, you know, our operations manual says we have to write the vision and make it plain. Write it down so that we can remember it and have it as a guideline to go ahead. If you don't write it down, you will have problems. And as a result, you won't be able to achieve it. So I want to just encourage you that this one is not working too well. Write it down. Just write a vision, make it plain. And then so that you can, those who read it can run with it. Who is that going to read it? You first. All right, moving right along. So I am now in Southampton, Leeds. And this place had, again, moving into a very, very depressed community. I think that's the poorest place in St. Elizabeth. However, everybody grew something, plus the other thing, except us. And we found that the standard of living was very, very depressed, because you'll be surprised to know how farmers are, oh my goodness, they're at the bottom of the barrel. And you will find that what they get for their goods cannot sustain them. And so it's something that we just need to look at, because really and truly, people who come to buy, whether it's government or private persons, pay so little for their efforts. And then at the end of the time, they are the ones who make the maximum. Those who are the middlemen and the marketers always make so much money, while those who are doing the most work make the least. We've got to change this. However, here we were in a situation where we were producing all the food we ate, or should I say, we ate only the food we produced. So I don't know which one is chicken and which is egg, but we couldn't afford to buy food. But, you know, when it was pear season, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 pear trees. And when it was pear season, we had pear. So we made avocado shake. We made guacamole, which is the avocado dip. We made, you know, we just slice up the pear and eat it. And then we had several avocado salad. We made avocado salad dressings. We made avocado juice. We made avocado everything. And we developed so many fabulous recipes. When it was bongo time, then we go down green bongo, red bongo, dry bongo, bongo drink, bongo soup, bongo tea, bongo. You know that you can make hummus out of bongo. You can make pâtés out of it. And let me tell you something. What they say, something or that is the mother of invention. And so in that community, we learned so much to be self-sufficient. And that's when we really modeled our urban and rural homesteading concept, where your homestead needs to be the place where you are able to be self-sufficient. And so we found a lot of bartering went on in that environment. And so I would send my farm manager over down the road to find out who was, whose onions were in, or whose scallion was in, or whose crop was in. And then we would buy crop, and then we would try some, use some, preserve some. And that is how you learn to really adjust to what you had and made it really quite interesting because you didn't have a choice. And so that is how we used the area that we were at. And then after a while, it was a community that was accustomed to those who were born and grown there. Of course, we came to the community, and the first question was, "You have family down here?" "No." "You don't come from St. Elizabeth?" "No." Okay. Ta-ta. So we decided that we would do our usual thing. My husband went on his morning walks. I mean, he would walk and walk and walk and walk. Every community goes into walks. And so he would go up the top where these guys gathered, usually at the mechanic shop. And he would always walk by there and stop to philosophize. And they looked out for him. And he would walk with one of his favorite dogs. And the dog was not on a leash, but was very obedient. And so he would just walk right behind him on his heels and sit while he was talking to this group. And so it became a ritual. This is how we communicated with the group. They never came to our place, except when they were sick and needed attention. And then it was always in an emergency. And so I started distributing moringa trees, right? So that the community will become self-sufficient in moringa trees and moringa leaves and moringa products. And then I started teaching anybody who would come by how to make these different moringa products, how to make the teas, how to make the powders, how to make the capsules, how to make the juice, the drink, the shake, and how to use it as a poultice, because moringa with aloe vera, tuna, and what's the other one? Noni, mixed into a paste, the moringa paste. It can be put on open cancer sores and totally heals them. You can take it internally for the same reason, because that will get your immune system back up to the point where your immune system will heal itself. So we distribute moringa trees to anybody who wants it, and however many they want. We had a moringa nursery, and then we had a palm tree nursery, and several other nurseries which we planted from seeds, so it didn't cost us much. And we just gave them back out to the community as a way of beautifying the community. And we planted up a whole lot of trees and beautified our neighborhood and encouraged others to do the same. What else did we do in that community? We had some events so that people came in from outside. We also had some little training seminars where people came to learn, expand, and say, oh, and also we invited all our, I wouldn't say staff, but extraneous staff to come into our devotions in the morning. So we would have household devotions, and apart from our staff who work directly with us, some plumber was coming to fix the sink, or an electrician was coming back to do this, or on a farm you always have to fix things, or we had extra farm hands. Everybody would come into our devotions, which we had morning and for a period evenings as well, 6 and 6. Well, I am here to tell you that is probably the most successful of our programs, because we had persons who had challenges with law, let's just put it that way, who we were able to assist in turning their lives not around, but making them understand that God's love is unconditional. And so we would extend our homes to people of all backgrounds, and they would be treated the exact same way. And so they gravitated towards us whenever they had a problem, but only when they had a problem. And one of the things is that one of the parts of our devotions in the mornings and the evenings is that we hug everybody. Because guess what? You need 13 hugs a day to be psychologically secure. And a lot of people get the 13 hugs and they're still not secure because they don't understand God's love. So at our devotions every morning, we would get for ourselves 13 hugs. So if there were 13 people, we hug them once. But if it was less than that, then you hug them twice. And then you just add in the cat and the puss and the dog and the teddy bear and so on. But you had to get at least 13 hugs a day. So a lot of people came up just to get the hugs. And that was great, because they went home and decided to transfer that into their own families. And that's great. So let me see that I've left off anything, because there are several other things we do in our community development. Community cleanup, community paint up. What is this? Oh, communal activities. Advice, and in your area of expertise. We sort of encourage people to share and exchange advice and information and actual stuff in their particular area of expertise. Because in the country, there's not a lot of money in farming communities, but they have a lot of products. And so we will do a lot of exchange and bartering. And handyman tips, and gardener's tips, and baking tips, and doing things together. So that was our last community, and now we are into community of Baptist. And we have already had our first community activity, where the Citizens Association or the neighborhood, something or the other group, was invited to come and have one of their meetings at our home. It's not our home, it's my home. Me alone. But anyway, I have lots of guests always here. And so we had a really nice food around where we exchanged ideas, but also everybody just had an opportunity to taste some of our culinary delights from Earl and Cheryl Jump Health Ministries. So I think it's time to wrap up. Is that time finished, or do I have a minute left? Right. So, okay, it's time to go. So guess what? Join me tomorrow, because tomorrow we are going to do Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. And then Sunday, it's the Lord's Day. But we're going to have an exciting time tomorrow, because we're going to be celebrating officially our Feast of Lights, our Festival of Lights, Feast of Dedication, Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah. Happy belated Thanksgiving, still in the season. And have a wonderful evening until tomorrow, 12 o'clock on the dot. This time, 12 o'clock. Bye.
Somehow I know things have got to change. Ooh-wee, oh. Somehow I know it's got to be rearranged.
Since the first public demonstration of radio by Nikola Tesla in 1893, no one ever thought of putting the 2 R's of music together until we created reggae2reggae.com. Since the first public demonstration of radio by Nikola Tesla in 1893, no one ever thought of putting the 2 R's of music together until we created reggae2reggae.com.
Every year, a large number of Jamaicans find themselves to their home country against their wishes. The challenge of resuming a life and livelihood